What is going on, everyone? It's Ultimate Spy 53 here, and welcome to another episode of Reviewed number 134. And today, I'm going to be reviewing the movie The Princess Diaries 2, Royal Engagement, the sequel to The Princess Diaries. So what did I think of The Princess Diaries 2, Royal Engagement? Well, it isn't terrible, it's just not great. I mean, it has a pretty good soundtrack, but that's really the only irredeemable fact. I mean, there were still some good aspects of the movie, but I just didn't love it. I mean, I enjoyed it, like all movies that I watch, I enjoyed it. Some movies I only enjoyed once, and then that's it. And I have to, like, do it again to just get, an idea about how to really talk about it. But for this one, I don't know, I felt like the first one was better. I mean, some movies are like that, where the second one isn't as good as the first one, like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which wasn't as good as the first one. And this one was no different. This was just, I don't know, I preferred the first one because it was just a lot better. I mean, most of the main cast did return except for the actor who played Michael, which is explained at the beginning of the movie, where he's simply remaining friends with Mia. And because his band is going on tour, that's kind of a problem, they can't really continue the relationship. I mean, it was kind of hinted at the end of the first one that they would end up together in a dating relationship. But apparently it's not the case. Like, you didn't think, oh, they danced together, at the end of the first movie, and they expressed their feelings for each other, so they're dating, right? So then at the beginning of the first film, they would be dating. Well, no, not at all. In fact, she explains that we're just friends now because he's busy with his tour of his band, and so basically Mia decides to move on, which is understandable because that happens a lot. But I would have liked that to happen because just how Michael is portrayed in the first movie, I really would have liked that to happen, but of course it didn't happen, which I'm okay with. I'm not offended by that. I just wish that would have happened, But I will say the story was a little confusing because we were brought back to Genovia after Mia had supposedly been there already, which was kind of confusing. It's like, wait, we go to the end of the first movie where she's arriving in Genovia for the first time, and then suddenly the second movie begins where she's arriving again. Like, has she been somewhere else? Like, apparently she went to. When she graduated from high school, which we never really explained. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like, I don't really have any context for that one, but it's like she went there and then she graduated from college and then she's back in Genovia. There's no context. There's no story that was explained, and I was really confused about that because apparently, again, like I said, she was graduated from high school, which was giving no new context. Like, I thought she wasn't graduated yet, and then she's at this university for like 5 years. Because she's not in Genovia right now, and then she goes back to Genovia, so it was kind of confusing a little bit. I didn't really understand that the first time a few times I saw it. I mean, after watching it a few times more, I kind of understand a little bit more, but I just feel like it could have had more story there, like a little more of a backstory of like what was going on. That I really didn't understand is that Raven, who is a Disney Channel star, I think so at least, she's an African-American singer who appeared in a show called That's So Raven. I think I've only seen a couple of episodes of that show. I mean, I grew up watching a little bit of it, so I knew of it, but, basically, she's in this movie as a princess friend to Mia, known as Asana, which I didn't really, there's no context. Like, there's no introduction at all. I didn't like that part. Like, I didn't like the fact that they didn't introduce her at all. They just, suddenly, they knew each other. Like, that suddenly they've known each other for a while. It's like, hey, what's up, man? What's going on? It's like, what? Where's the context? How are they friends? We didn't know. It's like, they wanted to assume that we already know who this new princess is, who this princess friend of Mia is, and there's no context. We don't have any idea who she is. We don't have any context of her at all, besides the fact that Mia says her name when they do the singing thing at the party, and even then it's like suddenly her we get her name, and it's like I feel like that was poor storytelling. That was poor character introductions, because when you're doing something like that, you have to let them know what's going on. Otherwise, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's the writer's decision. I think it was poor writing there because, like, suddenly there's this princess friend of Mia's. Who is she? We don't know. Suddenly she's just there, and we're supposed to know who she is. We're supposed to know that she's been a friend of Mia's for a long time, and I mean that's not true because Mia never brought her up. So I think that was a poor writing decision because there's no context to give it. So suddenly this friend of hers comes back, and we're supposed to assume that she's known this friend of hers for a long time because she she's all excited about it, and I don't really know why that was not explained very well. So that's something I found that was a really kind of, I don't know, it didn't really make sense. I really did not understand. I mean, I think that when she was involved in that mattress scene, like one of the things that she was involved was the party, and the mattress, and that was pretty cool. I mean, that was really awesome. I wish I could do that myself, but it was a silly scene, but it was also really fun. I think that one of the better scenes of the movie is the mattress scene, where all the princess friends, some of them are, they're like, they don't even look like princesses. They're just like random girls who are going to the party. Like this girl with braces who just seems like your average teenager, and the rest of them are just like princesses from around the world who we know, apparently. Younger girls than her. And I don't know, it was this movie had a lot of issues, I can tell you that. But it wasn't awful, it just wasn't great. I didn't love it. I definitely think the first one was a lot better. I mean, it was funnier for one thing. It had a lot more humor in it than the first one did, which is saying a lot. And also, one thing about this movie that was really kind of cute was Abigail Breslin, who was an American actress. She is known for a lot of things, and this is one of her first film roles. I mean, she had been in a couple movies before this one, but this is like one of her first film roles. She was in a couple movies before this movie came out, back in 2002, but this movie was one of her first. Like, this is like, I don't know, third or fourth film that she's been in. So she was really young still. She was really young. I think she was even younger than she was in Nim's Island, and that's saying a lot. But yeah, she's really cute. I mean, she's grown to be absolutely gorgeous, but then she was adorable. She was cute. She didn't have a lot of teeth, and she just, I don't know, she was like speaking with an Italian accent or not. I don't know what it was exactly. But there's a scene where we see Mia really care for people, especially the orphans, going up to Carolina, who is played by Abigail Breslin. And it shows that Mia really does care for people. And I think that Anne Hathaway did a beautiful job portraying that caring person in this movie. I mean, the first movie, yeah, she was caring, but not quite as caring as she is in this movie. Which again, there's some downsides to this movie, there's also some upsides. Trying to find out the positive things. There are just a lot of issues I found in the movie. So, but that was something that I really thought was amazing, when she was actually like going out of her way to make everyone a princess, and that was really sweet. I feel like that was a really amazing development of character. And of course, Mia does have the same clumsiness in this movie as she had in the last movie. Sometimes a bow and arrow training, because she has to light a flaming arrow into a ring. It's like a Genovian ceremonial thing, and she has to do that, and she has a lot of mistakes, and in general, she's very clumsy in this movie, very clumsy. But you see how Mia has really matured since the first movie, because in the first movie, you go from Mia being an awkward schoolgirl to a queen in the second film. By the end of this movie, she's a queen, and that's amazing. And that's just amazing character development. And I just feel like after seeing her in the first film, and you see her in this film, it's like she has changed into a beautiful young woman. That's amazing. I mean, that was good writing right there, to write a character like that, to like change her like that between one film and the next, and that's amazing. Like, she becomes a queen at the end of the movie, and that's just insane. It's really amazing though. I love that part. That was amazing. I think the guard leader was kind of funny a little bit. He was very loud. Apparently Lily and him get a thing going on there, but I think he was just a comedy relief. He was just like the guard leader doing all the yelling everything. Yeah, I don't know. There was plenty of comedy in the movie. I mean, it is a romantic comedy, but it's I feel like I had more in this movie than the first movie, definitely. And one thing about the movie that I felt was incorrect was when Mia meets up with Lily for the first time in like 5 years, because she's literally hasn't seen her in 5 years, kind of thing. She knows how she is blonde, but she is not. She's actually like an auburn color, like between dark brown and light brown. Because you can see it's not blonde. That was an error. I think that was a writing error or something, because it's just, there's no way that's blonde. I know what blonde hair looks like. It's not that. That was one mistake I found in the movie. Was like, why are they saying that this blonde hair? It's not blonde hair. It's auburn hair, I guess. Auburn is like a mix between dark brown and light brown. I'm pretty sure that's the idea. So I felt like that was like the biggest error of the movie. I mean, it's a very small error, but I felt like it was important. It's like, you gotta get hair color right. You just gotta. And there was press in the movie. There was press. And it was a little annoying because the Scottish reporter, Elsa Kentworth, I think her name is, she is annoying. I mean, she just pops all over the place, and she's Scottish. I love her accent, but just in general, she just Like, she's like the new press. She's basically like the Genovian press, and she's a little annoying. Like, she basically, you know, she's the one that reports everything. It's like the press in the first movie, except Genovian style. And so, like, she's just one of those characters that really kind of annoys you after a while, because she just pops up all over the place and she gets everywhere. And I mean, you can tell she's Scottish not because of her accent, because of her outfit. Like, in the Genovian parade, there is an outfit she wears, and it's like a red patchwork and a hat with a little puffball on it. That's Scottish. That proves that she's actually very Scottish. And, you know, I didn't hate her. I just think that she was a little bit annoying because she kind of popped up everywhere, and she was kind of like always reporting everything. And at the wedding, she was reporting everything that Mia did. It was just kind of like, characters like that can kind of be annoying after a while. I mean, I didn't hate her because the accent was really fun. I like Scottish accents, but I just, I don't know. You go from the press to the first movie, which was like a little more different, and then the press in this movie, which was a little more reporting on exactly what Mia was doing, and that was like weird. But one thing to take away from this movie is one of the actors they cast for the movie, who is John Rhys Davies, who plays Gimli in Lord of the Rings, and he does an amazing job in this movie. I mean, he's obviously a Welsh actor, meaning from he's from the UK, so he has that kind of that British accent, and he's amazing. He's just amazing in this movie. I mean, he's an amazing actor, but he's just like one of the best they cast. You know, from Julie Andrews to Hathaway to people like Callum Blue, who wouldn't really be a big name until I think that he would star as Zod in Smallville like a year later. But in this movie, he did a really good job, and he played Viscount Maybury, I think his name is. He's basically the father of Nicholas, who is the love interest of Mia in this movie. He's like the father of it. He thinks that you have to be married to be queen, which is not true in this case. Mia forbids it basically. But I think he was one of the best parts of the movie. Like, he's an amazing. Not only is he a great actor, but he brings so much to the roles he plays. Especially Gimli. I mean, he did a great job as Gimli, but he just brings so much to the roles, and that's why he's an amazing actor. I mean, it's not because he was in Lord of the Rings, because he just, I feel like when you cast him for anything, like I remember seeing Shannara Chronicles on Netflix, and he did an amazing job. He was an amazing actor in that TV show, and I loved him in it, and it was fantastic. And in the stuff I've seen him in, he's been absolutely fantastic, and I've loved his work ever since. I think Gimli is his more prominent role, but the other stuff I've seen him in, he's been amazing. I mean, it's hard to imagine him playing anything other than Gimli, but he does a really good job. So, he was one of the best parts of the movie. And speaking of John Rhys' character, his son, played by Chris Pine, who I mentioned earlier is the new love interest for Mia, because, you know, Michael moves on, basically, to his band, and Mia moves on too, which I was kind of sad about, because I kind of wanted them to be together in this movie, but it didn't work out, apparently, according to the beginning of the movie. In Chris Pine's character, Nicholas Devereaux, Mia doesn't actually know he's the son of John Rhys' character, and that's just amazing. That's like, wow. And then she discovers who he is, and then she just hates him. And in general, I think that's a crazy relationship. Just discovering who someone is when you know who they are, that's just like, wow. It's really interesting. Honestly, it is. It's amazing. I think Chris Pine does a really good job as his character. I mean, they all do, but like, each actor does an amazing performance on their own. It's just wonderful. And I think that what Mia struggles the most in this movie is dealing with an arranged marriage and then becoming queen. I mean, by the end of the movie, she becomes queen, and that's insane, considering where she was in the first movie. But like, when you see her just struggling to accept the fact that she's going through an arranged marriage and then becoming queen, it's just a journey for her. I feel like it's a really big journey for her to go through that. I mean, she doesn't dress like a queen a whole lot of. She's very, you know, everyday kind of thing. Wears everyday clothes all the time. But even then, it's like, if they were going to make a Princess Diaries 3, what would they call it Princess Diaries 3? Call it Queen Diaries. It's like, I mean, I guess you could call it Princess Diaries because it's in the same series. They're talking about making a third movie. I mean, it hasn't really happening really, but like there's talks about it. So we don't expect a third movie to happen anytime soon, but I feel like that could happen one day. But like, just the amazing character development of Mia, how she's struggling with it to realize that she could become queen, and she does become queen. I think that's again, amazing character development. I think that Mia is the most developed character in the entire movie, both movies combined. Because it's about her, obviously, but like it just shows her that she goes from A to Z in the two movies. It's just like it's amazing. Like going from shut up, I don't want to be a princess to I'm a queen now. It's like whoa. I think one of the best parts of this movie is the relationship between head of security Joe and Queen Clarice, because the film shows them to be very fond of each other, as the first movie has shown, because they dance together, have always special moments together. And the writer and director of the movie really pay off the relationship between those characters. And we think Mia is going to get married to the man she doesn't really love. And in the end, the one thing that has been hinted at throughout the first and second movies is a relationship between the head of security Joe and Queen Clarice. I mean, it was established in the first movie, but we never really got an answer to that until this movie. And I was real happy about that. I'm real happy to see this movie. I mean, I had seen this movie years ago. I mean, a lot of movies in the show I'm reviewing, I haven't seen in a long time. So this is one of the movies that I saw. I think I saw it on Disney Channel. I kid you not. I think I saw it in there. And seeing it again, I realized that it was really amazing to see that their relationship pay off to be their replacement wedding. That their wedding is their placement wedding for Mia, because she decides not to get married and abolish the law of her to get married to become queen, which is ridiculous. But I think it's really special that Joe and Clarice get married because they are really fond of each other, and I think that's really special. And I'm so happy that it got paid off. You see that Joe has really grown fond of the queen, and then in the movie they get married, and that's just amazing. I love that part. I love the fact that they finally got married, and it's one of the most unexpected things you could ever think of. Like, we know that they have a thing for each other, but we don't really know if it would ever have paid off, and this movie does. So I was really happy with that they finally do get married in the end. And one of the things about this movie that was really interesting, and I had to look this up after I saw the movie, was the fact that in the scene where Queen Clarice and Asana sing together, the princess friend that I mentioned before, was apparently just brought into the movie with no introduction at all. They sing together at the summer party in this movie, and it was actually the first time that Julie Andrews sang since the 90s. I think it was 97 that she sang, and I was around that time was when she had throat cancer, so she couldn't sing. So before that time, probably the same year, I don't know when she had throat cancer. It was 1997, so probably before that, but it was around that time that around the 90s, that she had throat cancer, and this is the first time she sang since then. So it's a good 10 years, maybe, if that, or maybe less than that. I don't know how many years, but quite a long time, and I think that's amazing. I think that's brave and amazing, and just wow, that it takes that long for someone to come out of healing like that. I mean, I know why she wouldn't be able to sing, but I'm just amazed. Yeah, that was just it's a really cool, because when you don't really know that by looking at the movie, and then when you look at the information on the internet about it, it's wow, who knew that this actress hadn't sung in this amount of time? That's just amazing. So I was surprised, and I was really happy that she got to sing after all this time, because she's an amazing singer. And to wrap this up, I want to briefly talk about the best cameo in this movie, and it was really surprising, because I did not know it was going to happen, because it made no sense why he was in the movie. The king of cameos, Stan Lee, who I sort of met at Comic-Con, I think it was last year. But I didn't really get to meet him because he wasn't doing well, and I got this autograph, that was it. I didn't really get to meet him officially, which sucks. I was this close to him. I mean, you know the story. But he was in this movie. He played a wedding guest. He made a cameo as a wedding guest, and it was so weird. I did not know why he was in the movie, because it's not a normal movie. It's why in it? And the last movie he was in, but before this, was X-Men in 2000. And so it's why is he cameoing in this movie? I don't think Disney had bought Marvel by then. Pretty sure they hadn't. So I was a little confused why they did that. Why did they include Stan Lee in the movie? I mean, I understand, he's a cameo, but, he doesn't usually cameo in things like this. I mean, it's a Disney thing, so it's he cameos in a lot of things, but a Disney movie is the last thing I would imagine he would be cameoing. I mean, it was cool to see him cameo in it, but I just didn't understand why he was in it, because, this isn't a Marvel movie, why does he need to be in there? I get it, he's a king of cameos, he can cameo in things, but, there's no context, why does he need to be in the movie? I get it, it's a Disney movie, and Marvel owns Disney, but they probably didn't own Disney by then, so it's Why? I was confused. I was very confused about that. I didn't understand that. But at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, it's Stan Ling. That's cool, I guess. That's all I can say about the Princess Diaries 2. A little bit of a long title, Royal Engagement. They could have taken that out, but I guess that's what it was important to leave that in. Sometimes when you have a subtitle, it means a lot to have a subtitle in there. But I don't know. It's a bit of a mouthful. The Princess Diaries 2, Royal Engagement. That's, yeah. I definitely think this movie wasn't awful, but I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it. I think it was, it was okay. I prefer the original. I think the first movie was very good, and as for a third movie, again, I don't think it's going to happen. I just brought it up because I knew that they had announced it, and they were talking about it, but that's about it. They were talking about it. And that's all I can say, that they're talking about a movie. They're talking about a third movie and who could be involved. There's no information about casting, anybody's going to return besides people who already said they want to return, or, what the plot is going to be, when it's coming out, all that stuff. There's no context, so for now, there's just this movie and the first one, so, but still, I still liked it to some extent. Some of the moments in the movie I wasn't a big fan of, but I still think it was an okay film. I think it had issues, but it wasn't completely awful. I just didn't like it all that much. It was just like, it was meh. I enjoyed what I saw, for the third time I saw it, I enjoyed it, but just wasn't the biggest fan of this movie. I think the first one was a lot better because of how, the character development, played itself in that movie, and it was just a really great movie, so that's all I can say. And I'm going to give this movie a 5 out of 10. And the reason I'm doing this is because of all the reasons why I didn't like this movie as much as the first one. I listed all of them. But I think in the beginning with the story, with the context, it's like you go from coming to Genovia at the end of the first movie to coming back. It's like, what? What happened? I don't know. 5 out of 10, that's all I'm going to say. And, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Reviewed. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. I really do appreciate support. And, if you're new to this channel, subscribe for more episodes of this series and other series that I do, as well as other great content. And I'll be back next time with another episode. Alright, see ya.